Welcome to App Stories, a weekly exploration of the world of apps. Today's show is brought to you by Redox and Timing. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is my co-host, Federico Viticci. Hi, Federico.
Hey, John. How's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty well. How about yourself?
I feel like I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of iOS 11 writing and research. So it's going well. It's going well.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I think you saw that I'm best friends now with The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, I hear that he's gonna replace me on App Stories going forward. You're gonna do Rock Stories with The Rock.
You heard the rumors, didn't you?
I saw that you invited The Rock to our Google document. So now he's in the doc looking at us. Kind of creepy. I mean, I get it. He's The Rock, so
He is The Rock. I mean, Federico has got 11.5 million followers. It's going to be a little while till you get there.
I know. I totally understand. Speaking of unrelated things, we should have some clarifications on what we did in the files episode. There's a bunch of things that I want to address. So the first one is I mentioned that the only way to add favorites in the iOS 11 sidebar in the Files app was to drag folders in there. But it doesn't seem like, I totally forgot about this, honestly. You can tap and hold on a folder, and in the contextual menu that opens, the copy and paste menu, you're going to have a favorite option. So you can favorite folders from there. You don't have to use drag and drop to put them into the sidebar. So that's a nice shortcut. And also another detail that I feel maybe wasn't clear. You can only favorite folders in the current iOS 11 beta, and you can only share files. So you cannot share a folder or mark a file as a favorite and put it into the sidebar. And I've seen a few tweets from people saying that in earlier iOS 11 betas, it was possible to share an entire folder. I haven't been able to do the same. So either it was a bug or these people are mistaken, or maybe just it's an option that I don't see and it's going to come back eventually. I don't know, but I don't seem to find a way to share a folder with other people. Of course, the solution could be zip up the folder as an archive, not in Files, because Files doesn't have native zip support. So zip it up in some other app and then share the folder as a file, but that doesn't solve the problem of a true collaborative folder like you can do with Dropbox, for example. So we'll see if Apple ever does folder sharing with other people. I can't find the option right now.
No, I don't see it either. And it only makes sense in the sense that you haven't been able to share folders on a Mac already. When you have the iWork collaboration, for instance, that's on a per file basis. That's not on a folder basis at all. Okay, so today, Federico, I thought we would talk about the Messages app, because one of the things we've been doing on and off over the last several episodes is going through some of the changes that are coming in iOS 11 to the stock apps that Apple offers on the system. And we're going to get to iOS 11 and how it affects the Messages app in a little while. But I thought we would start with iOS 10, because that's where Messages really went from being, for the most part, a fairly straightforward text messaging app to something a little bit more akin to maybe Facebook Messenger or some of the other messaging apps that are out there, right?
Yeah.
And this has become, and especially once we talk about iOS 11, this has become a really complex app. There's a lot going on in here, especially when you consider that your view is a threaded conversation, and the input area then is only as big as a keyboard. So there's a lot that they've crammed into that small amount of space. And some of it's worked pretty well, but other parts of it were a little rough, especially early on in iOS 10. And I guess the three areas to talk about, we've got apps that were added in iOS 10, stickers, which is one of my favorites, as everybody knows, I think by now, and digital touch, which is kind of the forgotten feature of iOS 10 messages. And I don't think we'll talk about that much, because I don't really use it. Do you?
No. I mean, I only use it sarcastically to send messages to Mike and Steven saying, hey, do you remember digital touch? It's still around. So I don't feel like I use it genuinely. It's only to be sarcastic about it. But maybe other people use it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it once in a while, but the same sort of thing. It's always done as kind of a joke. The other two areas are apps and stickers. And early on, there were certain things that didn't work super well. I know you and I saw one of the first problems, which was when you page between apps, in the app drawer at the bottom, there are the kind of pagination dots that you get when you have an iBook or something like that. And you and I very quickly filled up that drawer with so many sticker packs and apps that it overflowed on the side, it was a little crazy. It looked a little, and we are definitely outliers, but that was definitely a problem early on. But I think it got fixed right around 10.1, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was in the first release right after iOS 10. They fixed that, but still it didn't really address the main problem, which is the entire design of the picker in iOS 10 is not optimized for people who install more than 5 apps or sticker packs.
No, it's not. I mean, there's a couple of ways, I guess, to browse through them. One is you browse through the icons, which is a little denser, so you have fewer pages, or you can do them sticker pack or app by app, and that takes forever if you have more than just a handful of them. And one of the problems too is I think that developers ran into almost immediately is that when people downloaded sticker packs and apps for the Messages app, they expected an icon to show up on their home screen. And when it didn't, they left lots and lots and lots of 1-star reviews all over the App Store.
Right. And that's really, I think, the main discoverability problem with the iMessage App Store, that it is an app store inside of Messages, but also because of the way that the system works, with the iTunes Store and with the App Store, you can get to the same app in multiple places now. And this is also kind of the problem with the watchOS App Store. But because you have a watch and because you know where you're supposed to go to manage apps, it is less confusing to people, I think. Whereas with iMessage, when you have these sort of utilities that like sticker packs that are not necessarily apps or just like fancier images that they live into the app drawer. And if the app drawer is a terrible interface and people don't know how to use it, then you get this issue where people are going to the main app store, they pay money and they expect to have some kind of functionality, and they look on the home screen and it's not. They look into Messages and they cannot find the sticker pack that they just bought. And so, of course, they go back to the App Store and they leave a bad review. And as we'll see in a few minutes, this is one of the problems that Apple is fixing with iOS 11, because I think it affected a lot of developers who released sticker packs on the iMessage App Store on iOS 10. They ran into this problem and, maybe they spent months drawing stickers and putting together animated stickers, and then they get this influx of bad reviews from the App Store because of a problem that Apple shipped.
Right. And the problem was compounded by the fact that, and this was not at all clear, I think, from the app review guidelines, which is one solution you might come up with is, all right, if people can't find my sticker pack or Messages app, I'll just do an iOS component to it, because stickers, for instance, are something that you can include with an iOS app. But Apple does not allow developers that have a Messages-only sticker pack to migrate it to an iOS app. It's one direction. You have to start with the iOS app and add stickers, not the other way around. I'm not sure what the policy is there, and it may be that the guidelines have been clarified on that, since I haven't looked for that since they were updated around WWDC. But that was definitely a bit of a shock to some people. And some developers that I talked to decided just to yank their stickers off the store entirely and start fresh with an iOS app and then the same stickers. They had to pull it and lose all the customers that they already had for the sticker pack in order to get an iOS app on the store.
Thanks to Timing for supporting App Stories. Time is your most precious resource. You need to know how you are spending it. But manual time tracking interrupts your workflow, and it's easy to lose track of. Timing is different. It automatically tracks how you spend your time on your Mac. It's an app we've reviewed on Mac Stories and like a lot. It shows you how much time you spend per app, website, and document, and categorizes that time into projects. Timing even helps you be more productive by analyzing when you are wasting the most time. And to save you even more time, Timing comes with plenty of automation features, such as rules for automatic categorization. Timing can ask you what you did when you returned to your Mac, so you never forget a meeting too. Download the free 14-day trial today via timingapp.com/appstories. That's timingapp.com/appstories, and save 10% when you purchase. We'll have a link in the show notes too. Timing. Stop worrying about time and focus on doing your best work instead. Thanks again to Timing for sponsoring App Stories.
It's very easy, and I think this is both an advantage and a disadvantage to make stickers in particular, because you don't need any code. You have to use Xcode, but you don't need to have any coding skills to make a sticker pack, which is great because it opens up an opportunity for a lot of artists and other people who are not programmers. On the other hand, there's been a very fast rush into the iMessage App Store, and we've seen a race to free that's even faster than we saw with the iOS App Store, right? And I'll put an example in the show notes, but I've talked to a lot of developers about this, that it's very hard to make any money with stickers. And one chain of tweets from David Bernard was really instructive because he released, I think it was last December, the rando emoji pack, and it got up to number 6 on the iPad and 40 on the iPhone very quickly. And he has one tweet where he talks about how he made $150 that day. 2 days later, he's at $40 a day and is among the top 25 grossing sticker packs or iMessage apps, right?
Wow.
He tweeted that as a cautionary tale for anyone who is thinking about developing stickers, because even if you're in the top 25 grossing, you're still only making around $40 a day. And that was at the end of last year. We've also talked, I know, the Icon Factory was on the iMessage App Store very early on, and we had an interview in Club Mac Stories Weekly in issue 88 where they really enjoyed working on the stickers, but given some of the discoverability issues, which they called out specifically, they've decided to kind of take a pass until things get fixed a little better. Because at least in their view, they see it as dominated by Disney and the other, big name brands at this point.
Right. I mean, I guess if you're Marvel or Disney and you can release Star Wars stickers or Iron Man or Spider-Man stickers or whatever, it's easy because there's instant brand and character recognition, and it's very likely that Apple is going to promote you. So you're going to end up on the front page of the iMessage App Store, maybe even in a section of the main App Store at the bottom. And people are going to recognize your sticker pack, and they won't have any problems paying even $3 to have some Spider-Man stickers or Simpsons stickers, for example. Like, if you're a strong brand, it makes sense because people can relate to those characters. And so I think there are some cases of companies, not indie developers, but companies that have made some good money, decent money on branded sticker packs. But the main problem remains of this was sold as an avenue for independent creatives to release stickers and to bring their illustrations to life in a way and allow people to use them in their conversations. And Apple even had this commercial where they showcased dozens of sticker packs from big and small companies. And I think the idea is still so fascinating to me to open up the App Store, not just for programmers, but for artists in general. I think it's awesome, honestly. But it becomes a problem if it's only good intentions and if it's not backed by a solid system to discover how to use these stickers, how to find them, how to install them, how to pay for them. And I think this was one of the reasons that guided Apple in the redesign of the iMessage app interface in iOS 11. I don't know if that's the ultimate solution to all of these problems, but I guess it's gonna fix some of those. It's only too bad that, like the watchOS App Store and like the tvOS App Store, I think most of these new stores, they build their reputation in the first year, and after that reputation is sort of, I don't want to say ruined, but after you set some expectations and you create some preconceptions, it's really hard to change them later. And so now everybody knows that there's no apps and no games on the tvOS App Store, that the watchOS App Store is a wasteland, and that on the iMessage App Store you're going to find sticker packs by Disney and others. But yeah, as for anything else, it's kind of meh. So I don't know if they're going to be able to turn it around after the first year. I hope so, because it's a great idea, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's hard to know at this point. I mean, because I think the opposite end of the spectrum of this problem from the Disneys and the Marvels are the companies that have spammed the iMessage app store. If you dig around in there enough, you'll see that there are companies that have put out dozens, if not hundreds of different sticker packs all at once. And what it does is it just dilutes the content and makes it very, very hard to find the good stuff, because there are lots of very similar sticker packs being released almost on a daily basis to try to make up in volume what they can't make in big sales with a really good sticker pack. And that's become, I did read an article recently that said that Apple seems to be, there's at least some anecdotal evidence that Apple is starting to crack down on this practice a little bit and rejecting sticker packs for effectively just spamming the store at this point. The other thing that I've seen, and I don't know how Apple controls this because there are just so many sticker packs being added all the time, but I've seen some blatant copying. I mean, I spend so much time each week for Club Mac Stories trawling around looking for sticker packs each week that every now and then I'll see one and I was like, wait a second, I saw that 2 weeks ago, and a lot of times I can find it again. And that's a problem, because that's just people stealing other people's IP, which is not cool at all.
Thanks to Redox for supporting App Stories. Redox is the leading platform for healthcare development and deployment, featuring a modern API that allows access and sharing of clinical data across healthcare organizations. For decades, barriers like data accessibility and system incompatibility have held developers back in the healthcare industry. Redox works by building, maintaining, and normalizing a network of data connections to over 120 crucial health systems, a number that continues to grow every week. The result is a robust API that paves the way for developers to innovate in the healthcare industry. Find out more at redoxengine.com. Thanks again to Redox for supporting App Stories.
Despite all those problems, I think that there is some good news as well, which is coming in the form of iOS 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought you've obviously been through a lot of this already as part of your review, thinking a little bit about messages and examining what they're doing in iOS 11 with the Messages app. What is it that Apple's doing to try to correct this, at least from a software standpoint?
So in terms of third-party iMessage apps and sticker packs, there are some major changes coming to the app drawer, the picker for apps in Messages. So first of all, when you download the sticker pack or iMessage app from the App Store, no matter the App Store that you use, the full App Store or the App Store inside Messages, the app that you download is gonna be immediately installed, and it's gonna be put first in the app picker. So you're gonna see, kind of like when you download an app from the App Store and it ends up on the home screen with a blue dot, the sticker pack that you download for iMessage, it's going to end up in the first position on the left side of the picker, and it's going to have a blue dot. So it's going to stand out visually to tell you, here's what you just bought.
As someone who has literally hundreds of sticker packs still on my phone, That's a wonderful thing, because you know what it's like you got to swipe over 10 pages or whatever it is to get to the new ones, because right now they're always at the end.
Mm-hmm. Which brings me to the second point. There's basically no more swiping involved. The picker is now sort of like a dock. When you open a conversation, you see this minimized picker at the bottom of the transcript, and you can scroll through the icons of apps and sticker packs that you have, and you can also tap it to expand this picker. And you can tap around on the icons to instantly switch between different sticker packs and iMessage apps. But even better, Digital Touch, of course, has been demoted from like a top-level feature to an iMessage app that you can disable. And now the picker is organized in favorites and everything else. The favorites are the sticker packs that you use the most, or the iMessage apps that you use the most. When you go into the picker configuration screen, you can hit a plus button to make a sticker pack or iMessage app a favorite. The favorites are going to be on the leftmost side of the picker. And you can put anything you want in there. You can disable Apple apps. You can put Apple Music. You can put some sticker packs. You can do whatever you want. So from a strict sort of spatial perspective, you can define the position of every single of your favorites. And then there's a divider, like a vertical line. And there's everything else, like all the other sticker packs and iMessage apps that you want to use, but they're not necessarily favorites. So this is great, because we all have our own favorites, whether it's the bacon guy from the ragtag sticker pack or the skeletons that are now very much the trendy sticker pack of our circle of friends at the moment. I think it's a great way, this combination of two factors, making it easy for people to see the recently downloaded sticker pack and allowing them to fully control the picker, make it easy to scroll the picker and select some favorites for fast access. I think this is a great set of updates.
I really like how it mimics the Mac and the dock in iOS because it gives you that point of reference and lets you know what it's all about and what it's for. And it's got the divider that looks a lot like the divider on both of those systems as well. And when you tap in that row, they get larger, which is nice because it's a way they've basically crunched it down to these tiny little icons that help save space because there's, real estate is at a real premium in messages. But when you're ready to use them, they magnify a little bit, just like a dock can on a Mac if you have that setting turned on. And then when you get to the end, you can actually tap a button and do search, right?
Yeah, you can open the configuration screen where you can manage the favorites, you can delete apps, you can search them. So if you have hundreds of sticker packs like John, and you want to see how many bacon sticker packs you have, you can just search for bacon and you're going to find all the bacon characters you want, which is great. I still would have liked to see maybe a search feature that looks into the accessibility descriptions for individual stickers.
Yep.
So I can find the same character across multiple sticker packs. That doesn't seem that it's still possible, but I'll take whatever Apple has done because it's so much better than last year.
Yeah, I think it's only based on the title of the sticker pack at this point, right?
Yeah. Also, speaking of apps, in addition to like utilities and sticker packs, there's also been quite a few games to be released on the iMessage App Store, usually turn-based games, because of course an iMessage conversation is a turn-based conversation. There's multiple people exchanging messages. And Apple is making it easy for these iMessage games that can be fast-paced puzzle games, for example, or competitive games, to communicate across multiple participants in a conversation. So there's a new direct send API that allows certain iMessage apps, if the developer wants to implement a feature, to skip the step of placing the iMessage bubble into the sandbox and forcing the user to tap on the send button. Now, these apps that use this API can directly send a message. So you can imagine, let's say that we're playing a card game in iMessage, and the moment that I interact with the game and I select my move, optionally, the app can send a message on my behalf. So the game becomes faster, it's quicker, I don't have to confirm every single time. And the way that Apple has structured this is very nicely done because apps can still use the old insert API that puts the message into the compose field and you have to tap send. The direct send API is an option, and I think it's specifically meant for games. But you cannot spam your opponent. Like the app cannot send 10 messages on your behalf. It can only send one message per user interaction. So when you tap the screen and you do something, and iMessage recognizes that interaction, then the app can send a message automatically. So it's not like I'm going to install a game and the game is going to send John 25 messages. That's not going to be possible.
Yeah, that's a really nice feature because I know that the reason that Apple didn't have that sort of thing originally was it was billed as a security thing that it had to be in the control of the sender that an app ever sent anything to someone else.
Yeah, and they've been talking to game developers. There are some really interesting ideas for social games on iMessage. And obviously, the requirement of having to put the message bubble into the box and then tapping send added some extra step to the game that could seriously break down the fast-paced nature of some multiplayer games. So I think overall, if this system works, and I haven't been able to test it yet, but I think it's going to work well. There are some other quick changes for app developers that I want to mention. The first one is called Live Layouts. And the Live Layouts is basically, I think, from what I've seen in the documentation, it's a way for developers to fully customize the layout of a custom iMessage bubble. So before, the iMessage bubble from an iMessage app was constrained in a fixed layout with titles and subtitles and a certain elements that always had to be there.
Right.
And now it seems like developers have some choice in terms of a truly custom message bubble layout that their iMessage apps can send in a conversation. So I think that's gonna be nice to sort of break away from the standard look of an iMessage bubble from a third-party app. And finally, this is not launching with iOS 11 this year, but next year Apple is working on this feature called Business Chat, which sounds totally boring, but I think it's gonna be kind of nice. So if you have an online store or even a local shop and you want to reach out to customers using iMessage, there's going to be a platform for that for businesses to do support or like answer questions about sales to customers or to potential customers directly in iMessage. There's going to be integration with apps. So for example, an airline could get in touch with you and could fix one of your issues or maybe respond to one of your questions directly in iMessage. There's going to be a custom interface for Business Chat. The UI is going to get a custom tint color. And if the airline has an iMessage app on the App Store, they can send you a rich message bubble. And if you have the app installed, you're going to be able to tap on the bubble. You're going to load the custom UI of the iMessage app, and you can perform interactions from there. So imagine like, I don't know, British Airways implements Business Chat and they send you an offer and they give you like, get 20% off this special seat just for you. And you tap on the iMessage bubble and the British Airways app loads. Of course, this is all hypothetical. I don't know what British Airways is doing, but yeah, you open the custom UI, you tap on the seat. Maybe you even pay with Apple Pay and you're done. So I think this is going to be potentially awesome for businesses and online stores, but it's going to launch next year. Apple just had a preview at WWDC, so we'll see.
Yeah, if people want to hear more about Business Chat, they really ought to check out an episode of Connected that you did that you talked about it quite a bit. We'll have to find I don't remember exactly what episode number that was. It was maybe a month or so ago, and we can drop that in the show notes as well. And we're going to also link to some of our favorite apps because Ryan Christoffel, one of our writers, just did an article not that long ago all about iMessage apps and some of his favorites, that's a really good collection of apps. And Federico and I will add in some of our favorite sticker packs as well because we've been watching these since before iOS 10 came out, and we have some favorites that we use pretty regularly.
Okay, I think that's it for this week, Federico. Thanks again to our two sponsors, Timing and Redox. We'll be back next week with another episode.
And if you're a developer or someone else who has a cool product that you'd like to promote, drop me a line. We're running a limited time promotion in August for new sponsors. So we have a few spots left. And if you're interested in all, just email me at Voorhees@macstories.net and I'll send you the details. And until next week, you can find both me and Federico writing at macstories.net and on Twitter, where Federico is at Viticci. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees, JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.